cloud. Okay, I think I got it. Awesome. Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry, we're a couple minutes late getting started. I see Joan on and Jennifer. We got lots of people jumping in today. Thank you guys for jumping on. I was really excited to do this. I know I've had several people message me that they're on spring break and will re-record. I'm like, yes, we will record. First I want to thank Jenny, Pam, and Roger for taking the time to be able to jump on and do this today. They are all three really great, consistent listing specialists, with the word being consistent. And I know there's been so many changes and lots of different things happening in the market right now. Oh, you know what? I said I was going to go live on Facebook and I totally am not sure if I know how to do that. Okay, let me try really fast while we're getting started. Okay, while I'm figuring this out, will you guys just quickly tell them where you are and just a little bit about your business, how long you've been in the business, etc. Pam, you want to go first? You're at my top little corner.
Sure. Hi, I'm Pam Bornhorst, and I'm with Keller Williams Hometown. So we're out of the Miami County, Vandalia, Troy, Tip City, Piqua, that area. We also have an office up in Sydney. So I have an Indy office off of the Vandalia office. So I have one in Troy, Piqua, and Sydney that we are working at. So I've been at real estate for like 37 years.
Wow. When she was 12, she started.
Yeah, right.
Okay, awesome. Jenny?
I'm Jenny Mattioke, and let's see, I get my 20-year pin from the board today, or this year.
Wow.
Is it really? Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 20 years. I run a team out of Dana's office in Richmond. We're primarily based in Central Kentucky, so Lexington and surrounding counties. And yeah, I have a team. There we go.
And you remember Place?
Yes, and I
Great.
joined Place a little over a year ago, and it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made from, personally speaking, from production and systems and training opportunities and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Awesome. Roger, your turn.
Hello. I'm Roger Wilcutt. I am out of Columbus, Ohio with the consultant's office. I have an IMAO, like a satellite office in downtown. We call it the Urban Living Office. And I have been, August will be 11 years for me, which is crazy.
Super crazy. Also 12.
Dana, you forgot to say that I started when I was 12.
I know. All of you all started when you were 12. So did I. Okay, so I actually had this scheduled with you guys in January because we've been planning these out like a quarter at a time, which has been way easier, by the way. However, since planning this in January, over the last couple of weeks, things have kind of hit the fan a little bit. So it ended up being really timely to be able to do this because, in my opinion, my mom's here today. And she doesn't understand Zoom, like that we're all on camera right now. So she'll just go, and honestly, it's not worth me explaining it at this point. So she'll just come and go. So just ignore her in the background. She also thinks I work for Gary Keller. So it's just, it's one of those things. Kidding. She's hilarious. But so since things have changed a little bit, I was really excited for this today because while I think everyone is making a much larger deal out of what's happening than what it really is, I also believe that agents in general will need to become very strong listing agents. I don't think there's going to be a way around that. I think that and it always has been, he or she who controls, the listings, controls the market and the market share. And I also think that if agents are continuing to go out and stand firm in your value and your commission and what you charge, because you choose to cooperate with other agents, we will have no problems. The agents that, can't do that or don't know how or aren't willing to do that will have a problem. And so this was very timely, and I was really glad to have all three of you all on here today to be able to share. And I know we're just going to casual round robin some questions. And we'll talk a little bit about maybe what you're planning to do different, if anything. But first, I would love for you guys, just whoever wants to start, and can answer, what truly do you feel like sets you apart from other listing agents? What is it that is your unique value prop that sets you apart from everybody else? And whoever wants to go first.
Mhm.
Go,
I'll go
Roger.
if you would like, I can start. So I kind of take a hyper local, hyper focused approach with my business where meaning that, I stay focused to a very, very specific product and area, actually,
Yep.
which is kind of unique. And I understand that does not work for all markets. It doesn't work for a lot of markets. And I know even just saying that out loud, a lot of people think, well, why would you do that? Why would you market yourself to a very specific market and not, more broad? You know, I've kind of figured it out after 11 years, slowly but surely. And what I do is, I live in the downtown area. It's technically the Arena District, and there are a couple high-rise condo buildings that I decided that these would be my market. That would be where I focus all of my marketing dollars, all of my marketing efforts. That is my community. I do live here, so it made it even easier to do. And so because I have like this hyper local, hyper focused approach, what it does is it's allowed me to be, a step above and get a leg up on, competition here. I truly think that I know, most about these buildings, about this market, about the buyers, about the sellers. I'm here. I'm personally invested in these. And I think that's something that a lot of other agents come in and just cannot compete with. And, that certainly sets me apart. And, I've always said, it's a little bit of it could be a little bit of a sticky situation if I screw something up, because I do live here and these people are my neighbors and I see them every day. And, not to mention, not even within my building, but, I market to the high end condo market across the urban areas of Columbus. And so, I'm not seeing all of them every day, but I'm coming across these people quite often. And, just like in any industry, if you mess something up, they might talk to their friends and things like that. And so, really, really paying attention and making sure that, exceptional service stays
Yeah.
mind while doing this. And I think that's one thing is, someone said to me the other day, like, well, you have that building on lock. You probably don't even have to try anymore. And I said, well, no, for that, I have to try so much harder. I said, if it was my first listing in the building, pressure's still on, but now I'm the obvious choice for the listings, these high-end condos. And that's, someone said that to me the other day too. And I thought, well, that's great. But I said, how much pressure is that now? And so keeping that top of mind always is really important. And so I think, those are the ways that I kind of stand out from other listing agents in my specific market.
Well, I want to ask you one question before you go on, because that's so good. Because truly, you've just really gone deep and intentional in that hyper-focused area. What about when you get a listing that's not in that area? Do you do anything different?
No, so we treat that, and people ask me that too, because naturally my neighbors will, move to the suburbs or whatever. We don't, and so I have a team. And so my focus is always this urban area. We will provide the same great service all over the place, but our marketing efforts and our marketing dollars go to this market here. And I've kind of, this is a little off topic, I've kind of allowed and helped my team kind of find their areas where they are hyper local. And in most cases, that is their own neighborhoods where we do the same thing for them. So just, for example, Pat on my team lives in, at Grandview Yard. That is his area where he is doing all of his marketing and things. And so it's allowed us to have each of us to have our hyper-focused area. So we do still service other areas, but, looking at last year from my listings, out of 54 listings last year, literally, I think I had 3 that were outside of these downtown condos.
Yeah. Well, and the great thing, the reason why I wanted to ask you about that too is like take Pat, for example. So I see and know all the great videos that you do for the downtown condos. Pat does pretty much the same exact thing for the ones that are in his area, and they're just great. I mean, you can tell that it truly is a mimic almost like that of what you do downtown.
Yeah, we found something that works and we're running with it.
Yeah, love it. Okay, awesome.
Great. Great.
Okay, Jenny or Pam, what sets you guys apart?
I was just going to comment really quickly, just what Roger said, that, I farm my neighborhood pretty hard as far as, mailings and things like that. But I also do client events. One of those events is an Easter egg hunt, and it's simple, but it brings the community in. And we just did it this past weekend. It was freezing. It was super windy. But we had, just shy of 100 people there. And the people that come every year, they're like, thank you so much. We love that you do this for our neighborhood. We just, and it's not an expensive event to put on because we bring in an ice cream truck. Yes, it was freezing, but there was a lot of ice cream still. And the kids had a blast, and the parents are super appreciative because they don't have to go very far, and it's not like parking like crazy in the local cities, Easter egg hunt and those kinds of things. And you get to see your neighbors. And they're like, we've been coming for 5 years. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's amazing. Because even through the pandemic, instead of doing the hunt, we did a parade, and we took the Easter. We literally have pictures of people standing 6 feet back from the Easter bunny, taking selfies with their kids out in the road, and we're like, we were 6 feet apart. So you just, you have to pivot on stuff like that, but it's fun to be. I don't know, it just to have that community sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. Yeah. So that being one of the things that sets you apart, what else would you say is your all's unique value prop?
I mean, I think overall it's the communication and just from start to finish. It's not like you're going to be the agent that nobody ever hears from again. We're going to call you. We're going to connect with you. We're going to keep you updated. We do that through some automation, but a lot of personal contact. And I don't know, I think I hear that all the time. It's like a realtor that I've never had before. It's somebody that communicates with me that I don't question where I am and where I stand. And they don't, whether they're buying $100,000 house or a $900,000 house, they're treated the same. And we love on them, because I tell my team all the time, it's like, hey, you know what? It might be a $150,000 house, but guess what? They have friends, and someday they're going to move up because you're helping them build wealth, and these things are going to happen, and it's going to come to you tenfold. And I've just seen that in the progression over 20 years where, they bought their first home with me. Now they're buying their second home. They referred me to their parents, and, different things like that. So I think it's just being that personal connection more than just transactional.
Well, and the great thing about that, and I know I shared this in our office meetings, and many of you have seen this, but last year, 88% of sellers and 84% of buyers said that they would use their agent again, and only 13% did. And so the loyalty is truly not there like it used to be, which is why I believe I keep saying this like over and over, but what you guys are sharing are exact examples of this, but you have to be the realtor to them, not a realtor to them, because they are so, consumers now in general. It's not, it's not just like my people or Jenny's people or whoever. Frankie's having a meltdown. It's consumers in general right now. They'll go with just whoever is referred to them that maybe wasn't the person that they used before, unless they have that exceptional experience with them.
Right.
Well, and Dana, I want to say something, being completely transparent, because you were with me when I learned this yesterday, and it was absolutely gut-wrenching.
I was wondering if you got a response to that. Yeah, share that story. And remember that we're live on Facebook, but just share.
Oh, yeah. No. It's totally fine. I mean, the truth is the truth. And if this person hears it, great. You're hearing it straight from me. I've been working with this person for years. We've sold other properties together. I helped them buy their property. And I mean, I'll just quite frankly say it. He's worn me out, like constant questions, analyze. And I told my husband, it's like paralysis by analysis. And I mean, umpteen phone calls, visits to the property, the whole 9 yards. I get online yesterday to do a quick market update for him. And I'm like, oh my God, he listed it with someone else. $1.7 million
Wow.
11 days ago. And I was like, what just happened? I mean, so I'm not here to say like, woohoo, life's all a big bowl of cherries and I get every listing and all the things are great, because it absolutely broke my heart. And hey, Mr. Seller, if you're hearing this, I don't understand and I need you to tell me why.
I can attest. We were in the car together and Jenny was like, oh my gosh.
That is
There
gut
might have been
wrenching.
other words.
Like,
There might
it's
have been
just-
other words.
There might have been other words. Yeah. It was like a punch. I mean, you could just tell, like, it's like when you pull into your house and your next door neighbor has a sign and, somebody else's, I mean, it's just sometimes it's like, because you care so much and it's just like such a punch in the gut.
It is.
And poured into that person, like just poured, I mean, hours of phone calls and just the what ifs, the what ifs, what ifs. And I'm like, let's just list it. Like, let's just do it. And I'm like, he just listed it with somebody else.
She did send an extremely well professionally written email. Have you gotten a response yet? Curious? No.
No, and I'll call him. If I don't hear from him by tomorrow, I'll call him
Yeah. Yeah.
because I want to know. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I need to know what happened.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
want to know. Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah, it definitely happens. And I do think, sometimes, I don't know, maybe that'll be a one of what John Maxwell calls a blessed subtraction. Maybe it'll be one that's protecting you from something that was bad that was going to happen with it. But also it's really great to be able for you to share that story, because it does happen to everybody. And I'm sure that if I asked everybody to comment in the chat, if it's happened to them before, everyone would say yes. So yeah. Pam, I do feel like you are the realtor to so many of your people because you have so much repeat, referral, and sphere. Talk a little bit about what you do that sets you apart.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I was just going to say. I'm just pretty much known in the area.
Do you hear an echo? Yeah. I don't know what that is. Brits, yeah, they can hear it too. Shoot, I don't know.
Well, gee, maybe I can't talk.
Do you have do you have a phone on or anything else on? Is your Facebook open? It might be that. Stephanie said she's logged on twice. Hold on.
No.
Hold on, let me try to fix it. Let's see. Oh wait, hold on. Let me see. Put in hold on. Okay.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. That's better.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yep.
I can't see anybody, but I can still talk.
Oh shoot.
Hold on.
You are logged on twice, but I don't know why. We can see
Well,
you and hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't see anybody, but I can hear you guys. So,
Okay.
but yes, I mean, I think that in my area, people trust me. So I think that's one of the main things that's made me successful. Most of all my business is repeat referral business because I've been doing it so long in this area. So people know and trust who I am, and I go prepared. Like when I go on a listing, whether I've been referred to them, I mean, I'm prepared. I know my market. I make sure I let them know that I do know my market by preparing, by doing a good market analysis. I like to go with all of my presentation professionally done. Basically, I like to sit and just talk with them about what they need to, what they want me to do for them and what I can do for them and how my value is going to be better than maybe another agent. And I do believe a lot of that comes from experience. So, I'm not afraid to talk about the negotiations and how I negotiate inspections or maybe pricing or, how we make sure they're pre-approved. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but I think just being, honest with them so that they trust you. That's a big thing for me, is to have people's trust.
Yeah, I think that that is huge. Experience and trust is the number one thing that buyers and sellers wanted from an agent, according to the NAR stats last year, Pam. So
Right.
you are totally spot on. And I think that that is a huge thing. Would you care to share just for a minute about like how do you negotiate with them, and or like this is a question I want to ask all of you all. Have you all decided yet if you do run upon a seller that for whatever reason isn't into the full commission, how you're going to handle that on your end?
Well, for me personally, it's just like business as usual. I mean, I'm huge on showing value anyway, because I don't want people to start wanting me to cut anyway. So regardless, I go in loaded with the value that I'm going to give them. And by the time we're done, I think they see that value, and they're not ever asking me if I will cut my commission, because I go in loaded, showing them the websites that I'm going on. Showing them the marketing, the staging, the photography. I show them everything and tell them everything I'm going to be doing. I really get very few people that ask me to cut. For me, it's like business as usual. I'm going to have my sellers, offer the 6%. No buyer's agent's going to work for free. I'm just going to market it differently than I have in the MLS system. But I think not making a huge deal of it. Is definitely a tactic that I'm going to use with all of my listings. I listed like 5 homes this week. Not one of them asked me anything about not giving the buyer broker 3%.
Yeah, that's great. You also reminded me of something else too. And I was just talking to one of our agents in the Columbus office who went on a listing appointment where they were competing with, there was 4 agents total. They were one of 4. So they were competing against 3 others. And it was a pretty good price point house. I think it was in the 900 price point. And they called her to tell her that she got it. And the reason was because she was the only agent who showed up with a listing presentation.
Oh yeah, you've got to be prepared. And mine is very polished.
Yeah.
And I do think that is one thing. It's a silly thing to say that helps set me apart. But I mean, I've heard people say you just had such a good presentation, and I was honest with them. So I think it does make a difference.
Jennifer asked a really great question. Pam, are you still, and this is to all 3 of you all, are you all still taking in like a paper listing presentation and info, or are you pulling it up on like an iPad or a computer?
Well, of course I'm old school because I'm not really 12, right? So I always go with a nice paper presentation. I review all of it with them, and then I do not leave it with them. So I take it back. I don't leave my comps. I don't leave my CMA. I don't leave all of that stuff. I leave them a nice presentation that shows my team on it and what I'm going to do for them, and then what comes next. So, and I go over that. They love the what comes next form because people have questions after you leave. So that really seems to help.
Okay. Roger, what are you doing, digital or paper still?
I have a really nice presentation. It's like it's like a magazine. It's not as long as a magazine, but it's really nice quality. We take it with us. And when I sit down, I present them with it and I say, hey, I brought this. And I do leave it. I say, I'm going to leave this for you. I don't go through it necessarily. I kind of just try to sit down and have a conversation and kind of see where that takes us.
Me too.
One of the biggest things, and I've talked about this before, I don't leave that appointment without another appointment set. So whether that is to schedule photos for, I occasionally, depending on the situation, we'll try to coordinate to have, if I need to have an organizer, help them with organizing, if I need to have my cleaner go to their house, whatever it might be, photos, I don't, or, just to get back together and chat, or even if they're, schedules, jump on the phone to chat further and kind of go to the next steps. I don't leave without another appointment set.
Yeah, that's a huge aha, huge aha.
I think, Dana, if you're able to send it in advance as a pre-listing packet, because we've done that before. I'll never forget a lady that she said they didn't answer the door, but the garage door was open. And so we reached over the line and put it on the trunk of the car because we're like, they're not answering the door. We want to leave this. and said, hey, check the trunk of your car, because sitting on top of it is our pre-listing presentation. Please look at this ahead of time, because it goes through all the stuff, because as agents, we all have access to the same information. We have access to comps, we have access to whatever. We can take, really pretty pictures. We can write great marketing remarks, chat GPT. If you're not using it for marketing remarks, is an amazing thing. So we all have access to that. And I tell my team all the time too, even with showings, you're not just a pretty face opening a door. You are there to bring value and to answer questions, because the time that you're sitting in front of them should be the opportunity, like Pam said, of what sets you apart from somebody else. And for newer agents, I still think there's so much opportunity there, even if they don't have experience. Maybe they're on a team and they have the experience and the support of the team. So don't get caught up in everybody's experience on this call. How can you polish yourself to go into that appointment? Are you practicing what you're going to say? Do you know? Because I have the same answers to everything. When people say, they're like, well, what's your script for, cutting your commission? No. They're like that. And I'm like, no, the answer is no. And then, we obviously, it goes further than that. And you have to have what you're going to say, because if you're stumbling, I mean, we've all heard it 100 times, whether, I don't care what company you're with, are you going to practice on your clients or practice with somebody else? And I think that people get caught up in this whole idea of script practice is a really negative thing. And it's not negative. It's what are you going to do? Because we're all going to get the same objections. Now we're going to get the objection of, why should I pay the buyer's agent? We're going to get the same objections of, I don't like your commission. We're going to get the same objections about the price. We're going to get all the same objections. They're not different. I don't care where you are. It's just, how are you going to respond to it? Because you go into it with confidence, and you know what you're going to say. And if they throw another one at you, you know what you're going to say. And I think that's the part for me that, as Adam, your husband, has taught me, it's memorize, internalize, and personalize. So maybe you wouldn't just say no when somebody says, will you cut your commission? No. And just be quiet, because that's really hard for realtors. It's maybe you'll say, why do you ask?
Yeah.
What causes you to think that I should cut my commission?
Yeah.
You talk to another agent, whatever it is, whatever you're going to come back and say, it should be stuff that with confidence that you can say and you can defend and you can overcome that.
Yeah.
Jenny, I agree with that. And I agree, as like Roger said, as you're conversing and you're showing them their value proposition, I try to cover a lot of that by showing them the marketing that I'm spending on the tours or the photos. I try to, say that, we do the staging and whatever it may be. So it's always showing them value. So at the end of the conversation, they don't really say, will you take 5%? I mean, sure, we still have people ask that, but since I sit with them and converse all of what I'm going to offer them, I don't get a lot of that anymore.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. I feel like it comes around a lot less. Yeah. People ask me all the time how I overcome that. And I probably get asked 1 out of 5, right. And so I try to have conversation, and commission is usually the last of it. Or it's like an afterthought, and someone will be like, okay, and what are commissions again? And I'm like, 6%. And they're like, okay, and it's a quick conversation. And, the same thing, if people ask to cut commissions, my answer is no. And I, that does take confidence now. I'll be honest. When I was brand new agent, if you asked me just out of nervousness, I would probably say 5, Yeah. And that's one thing I kind of like drill into my team now, is, having the confidence in yourself to say that. And so if someone asks you, not buckling, well, would you do it for 5? Because, I'm interviewing a lot of agents and a lot of people have offered to do it for 5%, it's rare that someone's going to ask after you've just had a great conversation with them and you've shown your value. But it will come up, and having the confidence to say no and why you're saying no is huge. And that just, it takes practice. And like Jenny was saying, I think that's where, doing some scripts and things like that and some practice is important, because it certainly can help.
Yeah. Especially for the newer agents.
Absolutely.
you're spot on. And also actually, Emily actually just asked a question that I was just getting ready to say. We can't technically talk about certain percentages of commission because all commission rates are variable, right? And negotiable. So,
Right.
so you guys have to come up with what percentage is fair for the value that you offer. And I'm actually he doesn't know this yet, but I'm going to go back and ask who a top agent an agent in Central Kentucky who taught me how to do listing presentations, Jenny, you know him, and see if he'll actually come on and he'll actually come on and do a class for us next month because he from, I mean, this will be my 19th year, 18th or 19th. No, this is 18th. I can't remember. But so just say almost 20 years ago, every listing appointment he went to, he provided a menu and it was exactly that. This percent, or this percent. And the great news is you get to pick which one you want. And so at this percentage, here's everything you get. At this percentage, here's everything. And at this percentage. And I just dropped into the chat the 2 PDFs that we shared at our office meetings last week. And it's over 280 things that real estate professionals do for their clients on an average of just each transaction. And so if you are struggling with, coming up saying like what your value prop is, look at those and use those as a little bit of a guidance. But if you are offering professional photos, professional cleaning, organizing, professional video, you're spending ad spend for, all of those things add up. And sometimes I don't think that it's consumers being, bratty. I think it's that they truly don't understand the cost and the time that goes into actually representing them. And I jokingly say this, but smart business people, or really just anybody, if you saw a billboard that said, root canal for $199 this month, like I don't think that that's who you're wanting to go to, or like open heart surgery special, $9.99 for March. Like that's not
So
the
true.
professional that I'm choosing.
I'm thinking there's no anesthesia with that.
Yeah.
There's not either. So count me out. But it's true. I think for some reason, I don't know why these attorneys and the DOJs decided to go after our profession, but it's a truly a profession that you want a professional to sell your home or to work with you when you're buying. And the thing that did make me a little anxious about all this is if we do see buyers go unrepresented, I mean, you guys know this just as well as I do, we'll see more lawsuits than what we're seeing today. I mean, there's no way that we won't. It's going to be an absolute just poop show. So you do have to really know and describe your value prop. Next question.
Dana, can I just comment really quickly, because I think now people as listing agents, we have to be stronger than ever, and we have to present it that now buyer commission is a marketing strategy. Yeah. I mean, it's going into that listing presentation of, let me share with you how many of the homes that were just sold in your neighborhood, 8 out of the 10, 9 out of the 10, whatever, offered commission to the listing agent, or I'm sorry, the buyer's agent. And here's what it was, because it truly is. I mean, why would I want to go show a house that I'm not going to get paid on and my poor buyer can't afford to pay me? I mean, I still have to show it because that's fair housing and all the things that go with it. Right. But it is, kind of at the end of the day, you look at somebody and go, I can't work for free. Right. You're VA. I can't, that person's not willing to pay me. And I don't know how to help you through that. Call the listing agent. And that we all know that, a lot of people don't like to do that.
Yeah. Jenny, that's such a great point. I know we talked about that yesterday too. I do really believe that's going to become a huge part of listing agents running comps now, is how many of the homes that sold around them,
that is a great point.
Were sold by another agent. Like the listing agent didn't get both sides of it. So another agent brought the buyer, and what was offered to them, because if your seller wants to be competitive, I mean, they're going to need to do the same thing. Stephanie said, maybe I'm wrong, but if the buyer can't pay the commission and the listing agent isn't offering it, you don't have to show the house. I don't know the answer to that yet, but yeah, I do know that I believe what will happen is, we talked about this at the meetings too, but for those of you that weren't there, I believe what will happen is hopefully we'll each move forward with 2 buyer representation forms. One that's just to show you and represent you on this home. And then the other is the regular buyer rep that we're all used to, which is this is saying that I'm your realtor no matter what for 6 months, 12 months, whatever
Right.
that time frame is. I think we'll have to have that. Okay, Stephanie said that's what I understood. Unfortunately, I had to miss value too, so I'll have to I'm on the next one that Gary Keller is teaching. But yeah, I think some of those things are going to be really important for us to watch as things change. Yeah, Shane, yep, I've done buyer agency for specific properties several times. Yeah, I think that's what we'll see, because if it does get passed, we will have to have buyer reps signed at the first communication, because they'll have to have them to give to their lender for the pre-approval process moving forward now. So that will be a change. Another question that I had for you guys are, what way are you getting in front of your sellers, would you say, the most right now? Is it, Jenny, like are you doing the face-to-face client events or micro events? Are you doing more direct mail? Are you calling? Like what are the things that are working for you guys in regards to getting listing appointments?
I mean, I think all of the above. It's a combination of, everything. It's reaching out to past clients. It's the constant communication, whether it's direct mail, email. I mean, we're still doing snail mail. I mean,
Right.
we're still doing postcards. And I get a lot of positive feedback from that regardless. And it's providing things of value like market reports for their particular house, that they can keep up with the market in their area. Their client events, like I said, we just did the one in my neighborhood, but we invited clients. We'll be doing other ones throughout the course of the year. So it's all of those things.
I agree.
The big touch, like 100 and something. No longer is it a 36.
I have noticed people are interviewing more. Like I had 4 people interview me a week ago, and I really don't usually have that. Usually it's just referred to me and you go out your listing appointment. But yeah, I noticed that.
Dana, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I was
Can't hear
muted.
you.
I wonder what the difference is now. I wonder why that is, Pam.
I don't know. I had two listings come in, and they said, I was being interviewed with 3 other agents. So
Wow.
it was and 2 buyer consults that were interviewing agents,
Wow.
which was really interesting. So
yeah, that is. Roger, are you doing client events, direct mail? What are you doing the most of that I know you do a lot of direct mail to your building.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Again, one of the things about being in your community is that, I have 2 dogs. I'm walking around my community all the time. I see my neighbors constantly, have small talk with, 70% of my clients every day, which is great, and I understand that a lot of people don't have that advantage. But we do a ton of mailers, new listing postcards, just sold postcards, market update postcards. I do events for my neighborhood several times a year, all sorts of stuff. We are, kind of using a little bit of everything, and then we're doing all the digital stuff and all that. So a little bit of everything. And I think that truly, not one single thing is ever going to get you all the business, in my opinion. I think each thing is a piece to the puzzle. Being a part of your community, doing things in the community, the events and things like that. There has to be a personal aspect to it, in my opinion. I really think that if it is all just sales, if it were all just new listing postcards, all just sold postcards, I think people get sick of it, So we live in the Arena District. I send out sports schedules for hockey, soccer, football, and baseball. They're all in our neighborhood. So we send out those sports schedules. We do a neighborhood baseball night every year that my neighbors literally ask me when it is all the time, because we have so much fun with it.
that's great.
I host the homeowner happy hours within my building. That's just for my building specifically. And so I make sure that I do things that are not related at all to sales. And I think people really appreciate that. I think that's one thing as realtors we all need to keep in mind, is that there is such thing as coming off too salesy, and you do not want to be come off as transaction based. You know, and I think that is so important to have a relationship based business. And that doesn't mean you have to be, you know, grabbing dinner and drinks with your clients all the time. I mean, you know, not everyone has time for that, but I think just showing that you have more to offer than just the sales and you're invested in the community. And so again, it's not just the just sold postcards and things like that. It's a little bit of everything is a piece to the puzzle. And I think that's truly why we have so much success with all of our marketing. And that's exactly what, again, you know, I have all of my agents doing in their hyper local areas, the same exact things. You know, they're hosting events, they're dropping off little gift bags on people's doors this weekend for Easter. You know, things like that that have nothing to do with sales, but just show that you're involved in the community. And I think those are all really, you know, make up the whole puzzle that helps.
Yeah. I love what you said about it's all like a different piece to the puzzle, because that is a really great way of looking at it. And it was
Well-
just, Jenny, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Roger, because I think what he pointed out too is that, you know, when I talk about farming my neighborhood, I'm not just sending postcards every month. Now, it is funny. There was a lady that I got her listing several years ago, and she said, "Oh, I got just listed, just sold. Oh, she sold another one. She sold another one. Woo." And she's like, "It went in the garbage." And I was like, she said, "But look who I called."
Yeah.
But it was more than that. It's being, you know, an expert in your neighborhood. It's being like a contributor to your Facebook page. It's having the Easter egg hunt. It's participating in the neighborhood picnic that we do every year. So, you know, that's the same thing. We've been doing Shred It events, because Shred It events are a great way to advertise. You just in one physical location at one particular time, and people have an opportunity. It's inexpensive. They can come over, they can drop things off. They know it's sponsored by you. And it's just a great way for people to get rid of their junk. You know, food drives. Food drives are an amazingly easy way to do that. Hey, put your stuff out on your mailbox tomorrow. We're going to swing by and pick it up and haul it off. I mean, we did that, and we had, I mean, my garage was full, and I had people saying, "Can I please drop it off at your house? Do you care?" And we missed the Saturday morning pickup. So just getting creative with some of those things that give back to the community, that you're not just sending those postcards every month, and people are
Yeah.
like, "Who's she?"
We had last week we had my friend Meg on, who's the #1 individual agent in the Chicago metro area, and she shared just amazing her whole thing through, she does micro events, and that's really what's grown her business like in a major way. But she called it the best thing. She called it strategic socializing. And so she said, moving forward, like she never goes and gets a pedicure by herself, or like she doesn't ever go, you know, to get a blowout at the blowout bar by herself. Like anything that she's like doing strategically, she's texting 2 or 3 people from her, you know, sphere or her database and saying like, "Hey, do you want to go with me?" Or, "Hey, I booked for 3 and I'm going by myself. Do you guys want to jump in?" And she's like, "I don't even pay for theirs. It's just like strategic socializing to get in front of them over and over and over." And then of course her micro events are more like 10 to 30 to 40 people, she said. But my biggest takeaway from her is it kind of exactly what you guys were saying. She just shows up in like a non-salesy way, because she does want to bring value and build relationships with her people. And because of that, they all use and refer to her. You know, I mean, that's her whole business. Like, I don't think she's buying any leads. Yeah, Caroline, she was great. I mean, she just was so good. But those are the agents that and what you guys are saying, like when people are freaking out about the industry changing, I'm like, no. If you're doing the things that you're supposed to be doing and you're building the relationships and you're providing value, it's business as usual. Nothing is going to change. But if there are agents that aren't doing those things, then yeah, you might have a harder time saying what your value prop is to be able to get, you know, to be able to represent people.
Well, it's the consistency. And really quick, for agents that don't have our experience, I mean, if you're hosting an open house, even for another realtor, and you're door knocking around that open house, I promise you there are no other agents doing that at a high
Right.
level.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they're going to see you out. I'll never forget,
Yeah.
there was somebody when I was doing productivity coaching for the office, and she was door knocking. She did not realize it, but the builder's dad lived in the neighborhood, and she door knocked on his door. And he's like, son, did you realize this woman that had your house open was actually door knocking, inviting people, and it was like 35 degrees outside?
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
You just looking for those little things of it's going the extra mile, because this
Right.
business, I mean, it's brutal, and it's brutal right now. It's super hard. And I've been doing it 20 years. You'd think there's like the floodgates, but people are scared. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market. There's all the things, but you just got to keep doing it, and you got to keep plugging.
And we'll all get through it, because I've been
Yeah.
doing it 37 years.
Yep.
And we've had a lot of change in 37 years. I mean, we used to just have little MLS books, and our highlight sheets were the picture they took on the MLS and sent to you, and we'd put them at the houses. And, you know, when everything went online, everybody's going to quit, because
Mhm.
nobody wanted anything online. So
Yeah.
all of these changes that have happened, you know, all the FISBOs and then Zillow, and then, I mean, we all just keep getting through it because we love it, basically.
Yeah. Yep, so true. Okay, before I ask my last question, let's see, Pam, Jennifer wants to know, do you know what you put on your what's next page, or any info you can give on that?
Sure. My what's next is what's next. So it might be, it's just an itemized list of myself, my team on it. And then the next thing would be the listing docs to be sent over. My stager would come in, my photos come in. It's steps of what is next.
Yeah,
And
okay.
it's just a nice, well done paper that I leave front and back. And they really like that, because it's what's next.
Yeah, I can see big value in that for sure. Okay, last question. What's the one piece of advice in today's market that you would give to an agent who really wants to up their listing game this year? Like, their focus is listings and they want to be able to get more listings. What would be the biggest piece of advice that you would give them, or the last piece of advice?
I would say, and of course, again, this goes to my business. So, but I think having a focus and having an area, and not, being a specialist, I think is super important. I think, in real estate, a lot of people say, well, why would you want to limit yourself to one area or one, product or something? I think in this market with, there's a ton of realtors out there. We have to set ourselves apart. We're having to, show our value and fight for our income and things like that. I think it's so important to make sure that you are showing your value. And really the only way to truly do that is to be the most knowledgeable in that area. Again, in my market, I can say there are other agents that are good, but I am the most knowledgeable of my market. My clients would all say that. And I really am, and that is because I have focused and narrowed in on a specific, and it doesn't have to be an area. Again, I think it's a product, an area, something, a type of client, something. But I think you truly need to be able to stand out from other agents, because there are so many people, and of course, everybody wants to be the listing agent. That's, when the market's insane and everything's getting 20 offers, guess who's just sitting here reviewing them, and I know I'm getting paid. I'm not the one that's, crossing my fingers for the commission. And so I think you truly need to show your value, and that is being a specialist, whether it is with a type of client, whether it's with, a very specific neighborhood or building, or, a type of, house or type of whatever you're selling. I think you really, really have to be a specialist. And so I would say, find out what that is, narrow in on it, and make sure that you are the most knowledgeable about that.
Yeah, Roger, that's really good. I love that you said type of client too, because I was just doing a consulting session last week with 2 agents in our office that are a team, and theirs is veterans. Like they have honed in on veterans, and that is their specialty. And I think they closed, gosh, I don't remember, 40-something% of their business last year were veterans. I mean, a big number.
Yeah.
And they said, like, we were kind of originally all over the place, and then we just started working with more vets, and then all of a sudden, she said, we've gotten every certification, we know everything there is to know. Like,
Yeah.
And they have just really like niched themselves into that, and it's paying off in a huge way because they're getting a ton of referrals.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone that was a relocation specialist, and I feel like we hear that term a lot, but I don't
Yeah.
think anyone is really a relocation specialist.
Yeah.
I'm completely honest. We all can sign additional paperwork for relocation companies. But this person truly prided themselves on being a relocation specialist. They, they knew the ins and outs of what that required, how to negotiate with those relocation companies. Truly, that is something that I didn't know you could negotiate with them. So already I'm thinking, wow,
Yeah.
you are a step above me there.
Yeah.
And so truly, again, it's not just, again, I sell high-end condos. It's not, don't have to narrow yourself in on a building or condos or whatever. Again, it could be a type of client. And I think just really focusing on whatever it is really important.
Yeah. Love it. Awesome. Jenny or Pam?
That's good.
Pam, you go.
I mean, I really, I like to work with agents. So that's my main focus basically, is growing these offices. And this may sound really simple, but I'm trying to, now we're getting into spring market. We're trying to build our inventory. We're trying to get these agents out here to hold open houses, because you can't sell anything unless you can meet with people. And
house traffic is up 53% over last year.
yeah,
Open house
absolutely.
traffic is
Absolutely. And I think what Jenny said, set yourself apart. I mean, do that door knocking, get your 6 to 7 open house signs up, but don't be afraid to talk finance. So many agents at an open house, just, the people go and look, but nobody's talking about the finance. So, have you been pre-approved? Do you know what an FHA is? Be prepared, like Roger said, be a specialist when you're at an open house and you're sitting in a house that's definitely going to go FHA or whatever. Know what you're talking about and use it, because a lot of them won't talk that because they're nervous at an open.
Yeah.
Take a lender with you. I mean, there's, I
Right.
don't know about you guys, but lenders are always, what can we do? How can we support you?
Yeah,
All
I
that.
agree. But I think that's a good way for these agents right now that need to pick up business to pick up business by going out there and being where buyers are walking in.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Stephanie said Gary really honed in on that yesterday on the value class that he's teaching with the changes happening. And I heard him talk about that it's going to be more important for agents to really understand the finances so that they can really help their clients understand. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
he said that.
Go ahead, Steph.
Sorry. He said that this day of realtors saying that's not my part of it, I don't want to be nosy. He said you should know everything about them. You should know their whole budget, their everything. You should know how to pre-qualify them based on their income and their debts, just an overall number. And you should call and be on the phone with them when they call the lender, so that you can ask additional questions like, oh, Mr. Lender, Mrs. Lender, do you have this product? Would this help these people? So that you're continually adding value from beginning to end, whether it's your part of the transaction or not. And that really was, that was one of my big ahas from yesterday.
I love that, because, if you don't know how to use a buy down, but you have somebody sitting on the fence, and if they could do a buy down and get it for 1% less, that might get them off the fence. So I love that. We just have to know what we're doing right now in all aspects.
Yep. Yep. I love that. Okay, Jenny.
Well, Pam said something too, and this is really not, I mean, I agree with everything that's been said, because it goes back to that, don't be just a pretty face opening a door. It goes back to being a market expert. And every day our operations manager sends out to us what happened in the last 24 hours in the market. We know, I mean, when I was a brand new agent, I was on every single day. I came from I was a nursing home administrator. So I had to be in the office every single morning. I was there from this time to this time. And so I didn't know any better. So I was in the office every day, dressed up in my suit. Now it's a little bit more casual. And I was pulling up because I didn't know anything. I was like, well, I got to teach myself. Nobody's going to hand this to me. And I think that's wrong. What's wrong with a lot of agents now is that they just expect it to land in their laps.
Right.
And the only way is to go in the office, hear about new listings, listen to who needs an open house, run out there, jump on that opportunity, but, also be a market expert about what is happening in your market. And here's the other key: build relationships with other realtors. You're not going to get business from them, but I tell you right now, if Pam and I were doing a deal and it was going sideways, and it's the first time I've ever talked to Pam, and she thinks I'm aggressive, I think she's aggressive, it's not going to go well. But if she and I know each other and we respect each other and we already have somewhat of at least an acquaintance, it might go a whole lot better. That's why I say jump on those realtor activities in your community too, to understand and to meet other agents, to meet other successful people. Take a top agent to lunch, meet them at the Realtor After Hours event and learn what they're doing. Because if you think it's just going to land in your lap, it's not. I mean, all of us, we've been through it. I mean, Pam and I have been, no offense, Roger, but I don't think you were in the business when we went through 2004 and 5, 6, 7, 8,
No.
9, whatever. And Pam's been through other stuff that I haven't been through. But guess what? You're going to come out stronger, because it's so easy as a realtor to get up every day and go, I don't have anything to do. You are unemployed. I feel very unemployed right now. I told Dana yesterday, I said, I kind of feel like a little bit of a scam artist here, coming in here talking about listings, because I'm struggling, and I'm the first to admit it. And then, that yesterday, 1.7 million. See you, bye.
Yeah.
So it isn't like all rosy here at the top, because it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
And until people realize that you have to get up every single day and treat this like a job.
I agree. And go to the office.
I was
mean,
just
we're
getting
sitting
ready
in
to
these
say
beautiful
that.
offices and no one's here.
Yeah, Pam, I was just getting ready to say that, because really quick, Roger, I haven't even got to tell you and Mandy this yet, but I was doing a consulting session with one of the top 10% agents from the Urban Living office, and his business was up. Actually, it was up a lot. It was up 72% last year over the year before. And one of the things that he said was, I know that it has been me coming to the office and just listening to the conversations that Roger is having, that Mandy that they're having with their clients, with their team. Like he said, it's just coming to the office and being in the environment. And I thought, gosh, that is so true. I mean, he said, obviously, yeah, I've worked harder. Yes, I've learned a lot more. But he said, it's just me being in that environment. And he said, I'm so glad that like I have an office I can come to, and that I choose to come to the office when I could choose to stay at my house,
I'll be right there, Kimmy. Hold on 1 minute.
And it really does make a huge difference. And I was so like proud of you all when he said that, Roger, because I was like, man, that's so true. Just like get around the people, go to the office. I mean, you're going to learn stuff.
I tell people that all the time. I think honestly, when you're a brand new agent and you literally have nothing to do, go through the motions, show up to the office, even if you're just sitting there. Okay. Like you can find something to do. Handwrite notes to your neighbors, handwrite notes to your friend, to your sphere, like go through the motions. We are all start off. I remember the first day I was licensed, I was like, well, now what? I'm here, don't have a single client, no prospects at all. I just started handwriting notes to people that I knew, letting them know I was licensed and that I would love to help. I started doing that to all of my neighbors, and that is how I got my first listing. I got my, my first buyer and my first listing from a handwritten note to a stranger.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So good. All right, y'all, we've gone past time. Thank you so much for sharing. I hope
Nice meeting you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Thank you guys for coming.
Bye, Dana.
Valuable. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your week.